So I'm pretty stressed today, which probably is starting to sound like my norm, but strange things have been happening, or just uncomfortable situations. So yesterday, a therapy supervisor came out with the therapist, and first of all, she told me, Aaliyah got her hand on a donut. She's like, we took it away, but I'm wondering if she can have it. So I thought that was nice to ask, but I will say, they've told me multiple times, Aaliyah managed to grab a handful of somebody's pasta, my pasta, or Aaliyah was trying to get at this, or there was a time when I was in there and they just had a huge box of cupcakes open, just a huge box right out on the table. And Adriana, I was there, Adriana ran for it and then was super upset when I didn't let her have one. So that already is kind of a frustrating situation for me. But then the conversation moved into, I think, your kids, I've noticed you pack soup almost every day, so it's possible she's, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention. So she basically told me, the conversation started when we were talking about how hard it is to feed Adriana. That's where this went. So yeah, the donut thing, and then we were talking about how hard it is to feed Adriana, and she said, yeah, I think it might be because they're getting sick of, they're getting tired of having the same meal, the same soup. And so I kind of just tried to explain to her the soup is part of a diet that we've been working on with them. It's a gut healing diet, and there's a lot of healing properties in it. And I really didn't get a response, but she kind of moved on to, well, let's see, what we can do if there's a preferred food that we can bring in, where we give her something and then, or she has to eat a bite of her dinner to get the preferred thing. She's like, how about M&Ms? And that kind of frustrated me a little bit because I had just said I didn't want them to have donuts, and now I don't want to use M&Ms as a motivator. So I just said, well, we're trying to stay away from processed foods, and I said I can get chocolate. I can still get healthier chocolate. And she said, but M&Ms, we need smaller. It needs to be smaller, so M&Ms would work really well. So I said, well, hopefully we can figure something else out. And I said, the one thing I can think of that Adriana eats consistently is Chipotle. She eats Chipotle really consistently. And she said, yeah, but she avoids the chicken and just eats the rice. And I said, well, she does do that sometimes. And then she said, how about you just bring rice every night and she can work for the rice? And I said, well, let me talk to my husband. JR is very much, he's very knowledgeable about the diet we're doing. And I told her, it's okay to have things, on occasion, but like if we're going to introduce giving her something every single night, I just said I wanted to check and, just see, what that might, how that might affect her. And and maybe it's just partly because masks are on, but it's hard to read. It's hard to read people sometimes. But I didn't feel like she was liking what I was saying because there was just silence and there wasn't acknowledgement when I would try to tell her these things. So I told her, we'll figure this out. We can try to bring in a food that would be preferred. And I also didn't feel like she believed me when I told her Adriana is hard to feed with everything. It's not just the soup. She's hard to feed even with things that most people would like chocolate. Even at times she won't eat it, and every meal is a challenge with Adriana. I couldn't remember if I already said that. So anyways, long story short, I just felt uncomfortable about that, and I wrote the supervisor this morning, and I just told her, what the diet meant to us and how it's been helping, and just told her we would really try hard to help Adriana be able to eat at therapy and to get into eating at therapy. So I didn't get a response, but I saw her from across the lobby, and she seemed cool with me. I think she waved. And then I see Bippin, and I'm just like, oh gosh, like there's just so many weird interactions around here lately. But tonight, So JR, he went out and got thermoses and lunch boxes or lunch bags, and they're pretty big. And I've been having a hard time holding things, um, even without the new addition of the lunch bags. And I got, I was already thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I get nervous. I get nervous when I think I might be late. So I arrived probably 5 minutes early. I tried to park. Aaliyah had taken her pants off, which I heard she was taking off her clothes today at school. So she had taken her pants and her shoes and socks off. So I put those back on, and then I was trying to grab everything, and it was just so much stuff. And then Aaliyah had taken her shoes off again, so that slowed things down. And I'm trying to get everybody out of the car, and I'm trying to keep things moving, but Aaliyah's becoming fixated on something on the wall, or something with with the stick that she's carrying. She loves sticks. But I'm just like, all right, we gotta keep going. And we're walking through a parking garage, and it's so dangerous because I can't hold their hands. I can't control them, especially carrying two big lunch bags, my purse, a bag full of clothes, coats, and whatever else. It's very difficult, and it's not safe. And then I was trying to go in the back way, because I wanted to avoid running into the security guy in the lobby, because he's a complete grouch. And it took everything in me today to not stare back at him, because I wanted to just he just stares, and today I just wanted to stare right back. But I knew that wouldn't make me feel better, so I avoided it. And I get the kids into the lobby. Oh, actually, we were very blessed to run into a therapist, and she helped move things along, because it's just so hard. So Aaliyah's continually taking off her coat. We get into the lobby, and Adriana at least one time got into the hand sanitizer. Her therapist came first. Aaliyah's therapist was supposed to come, I guess, at 3:45. Didn't show up till 4:15. So Aaliyah was in there most of the time trying to escape, getting into the hand sanitizer, thankfully not licking it, but getting into it, and trying to take off her shirt. And yeah, basically just like I had to stand in front of the door, and she kept running at it while I tried to stop her and keep her in the lobby. Eventually she slowed down a little bit, but I just felt like we have to be done here. I don't know how I can keep doing this. But the crazy thing is, I think it's the best place for them. I think it's the best thing I could be doing for them. I think they should be here for their best opportunity to grow. But I don't know how to manage it. I don't know how to do it. And we've been talking about getting a stroller, which I think we will get it. It just stinks that it's $900. The adaptive strollers that fit kids that are 80 pounds aren't the cheapest. And but if I could strap them in and get them used to staying in there until I'm ready for them, or until a therapist is ready for them, and can get them safely across parking lots and parking garages, yeah, and have a place to put all of my things that I'm carrying, that would be amazing. But it's just hard because I don't have that yet. And there's a lot of things we need right now, and I forget if I said this in my last video, but we could definitely use that stroller. I think I did mention this. We could definitely use that stroller, but we also need like a special needs high chair for Adriana. We also need we could really use the safe sleeper, but those are really, really expensive, so I don't see that as the highest priority. But there's just a growing list of things that we're needing to keep things going, and to keep it safe, and to keep it doable. And I was just truly hoping that um, that we wouldn't need all of this, that the kids would be progressing to where, you know, they'd stay with me, or um, you know, stay in bed, or just you know, keep out of things that are harmful. Or I would have hoped that we wouldn't need all of these safeguards, because I feel like we're just having to get more and more and more restrictive, and more and more and more, it's a lot of mores, more and more like devices, or like, you know, equipment, that's what I mean. And it stinks, because I would love to be um I would love to be weaning off those things, just kind of like we did with the diapers, and then it came back. I just wish we could be weaning off these things. And a part of me still feels like we're going to end up buying all this, and then they're going to show all this growth and not need it. And that's a nice thought, and it feels right for some reason. It just feels like, yeah, this is not forever. But at the same time, it's disappointing, and it is reality, and it might be what continues. I haven't been given any promises. I just have a feeling that, a gut feeling that things are going to get better. At least today, right? At least today I feel that way. But for now, I just feel bad that we need so much more restrictive. There's, an extra lock on the front door, an extra lock on our sliding glass door that keeps her, because she's figured out the one that came with the door, with the apartment. Locks on the fridge, locks on the freezer, locks on the cabinets, lock on the bathroom door, lock, just feels like lock on everything. And lock on the bedroom door, to keep her in there until we can get in there. We watch her on video, but or on the camera. But yeah, for a while I wash my face and all that, she's in the bedroom, but she won't stay in there unless it's locked. And we had maybe a week where she had just really chilled out, and she was cool as a cucumber, and she would lay down at night and go to bed. It took her a little while, but she would lay down and go to bed. And she wasn't super compulsive, and doing kind of obsessive compulsive routines over and over. I keep saying but she was doing really good, and I was hopeful that it was the new normal. But we're back a little bit more. We're back to harder times. Not really hard times, because she's much happier. She's much more tolerant. But it's like a motor's attached to her, and she can't stop what she's doing. And it's very hard to get her attention. It's very hard to get her to stop doing something. She's like in very obsessive compulsive mode in her mind. She's just very doing things over and over and over. I know I've explained that. I guess I feel like I can't say it enough, because it happens. It's just her reality and my reality right now. It's nonstop, and it just goes from the probably at school too, but just from the moment I see her till she passes out at night. And I just had hopes that I know we're still learning. I know we're still figuring things out. I know things are better because the kids are not crazy miserable. They're not crazy miserable, and that's huge. But it's been hard to feel kind of like my concerns are like kind of like the leadership here, or the people who directors and supervisors and people higher up have been a little dismissive and a little bit just, seem to kind of think it's overly dramatic. They've been respectful in their response, as far as like they haven't come out and told me like you're taking this too far, you're being overly dramatic. But that's the message. I mean, that the message is there. Also, about the diet, it's frustrating because it's the only thing that has helped. And we're hoping long term this will be very helpful. We're hoping it'll be very helpful. Everything else we've tried and it's failed. It stopped working. It backfired. Everything else we've tried has backfired. And we're just hoping, this diet seems to be going in a great direction. And we don't want them eating hand sanitizer. And we don't want them eating donuts and whatever else at therapy. We just want them to eat as healthy as possible. JR spends hours and hours cooking and researching. Please take it seriously. Please try. Please understand that, we've been to hell and back with the behaviors, but behaviors, when I say we've been through hell and back, the kids have been through hell and back as well. We just, because we care about them and are taking care of them, we went along, we were on that ride. But Aaliyah's had an extremely difficult last few years. And Adriana also, while she hasn't felt as horrible, she's, for a good year or so, she lost herself. And she no longer really smiled or expressed much joy. She just really, they both really just became strangers in some ways. And they're coming back, and they can show, they have some smiles and affection and love to give again. And we just really want to do everything we can. And I know it must sound really silly to people who haven't lived it, but when you've lived it, we're so desperate. We're so desperate to make things better and to get up out of survival mode and to see successes and progression and growth. When you're that desperate for those things and that desperate for your kids not to be in agony day in and day out, physical pain and emotional pain and neurological and gastro distress, I said gastro, but yes, gastroenterologist. I don't know if the first part of that word is can be used the way I did, but yeah, you're desperate for your kids not for that not to be their lives. Major regression, starting at age 7, really slamming into them and into the family at age 8. And when you go for years, just with constant, mostly just a lot of sadness, you'll do whatever it takes. I never thought I'd be the person who's being like, my kids can only, or I only really want them to eat organic. I don't want them to have your donut. I don't want them to drink pop. We're trying really hard to, and at school they have their school meal, and eventually we'd like to change that. But I never thought I'd be that parent. I've never been a person who's like, such a type A, like everything must be perfect for my kid, or, you know, they shouldn't be eating hand sanitizer. I mean, that's the kind of parent I think I always would have been, I would hope. But, you know, but yeah, that's the kind of, I never would have thought that I'd be picky about things like this or look like one of those picky type A moms. But when you've been through all of this stuff, you'll do anything. And if it's working, you'll do anything to keep it going. You realize, like, when you're desperate, yeah, I'd pretty much do almost anything, you know, if I saw something going in the right direction. And I mean, it takes so much work. It takes so much work. JR does all the cooking, but it takes a lot of work to feed them. It sounds silly, it sounds trivial compared to what JR does, but every morning, you know, we feed them carrot, celery, and, you know, spinach and all, you know, orange, put all of that through a juicer, and we feed them their juice through medicine droppers every morning, 8 ounces. And then, you know, then force feed eggs and guac into the kids. And I mean, JR does, you know, he does eggs and guac, and he gets onions and garlic in there. And the kids come home, JR has made them a special smoothie with yogurt and blueberries. And you know, and then they get a special dinner, a soup that takes hours to make for, you know, healing the gut. And it's very tasty. It's amazing. You don't get, I don't get sick of it. I eat it every day and I don't get sick of it. And then we come home, he's made homemade applesauce, and it's amazing. And then he makes tea, and there's, you know, organic almond milk in it, and you know, apple cider vinegar for Aaliyah. And it's just all, it's, you know, JR spends hours, not to mention like all the shopping and, you know, that he does to find these things. And he'll drive, you know, 2 cities over if the local Sprouts or Trader Joe's doesn't have something. I just wish that people, I wish especially people higher up, supervisors and directors, had the understanding that a lot of times the parents coming in, are tired and they are crusaders. And please just do your part and care while you have the kids. Try to uphold what we value and what we're trying to do. Try to at least pretend like it's important, that you care about it, that you're listening, that make it clear that you don't think it's silly. I might start a new video so the next one will be easier to upload. I just have a lot of thoughts and feelings and really just feel like talking. So that's what I'm gonna do.